Hello everyone, welcome back. So, we got another game lined up to take a look at. This one was sent in by Subtleties. He's playing as the black pieces in this game, and his rating is 1731. Okay, this game was a rapid game with 30 minutes for each player. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So, d4, f5, so he plays the Dutch defense. Okay, so it's basically it's kind of like a reverse Sicilian. Okay, c4, knight f6, knight c3, and a lot of times the battle will be for the e4 square. So yeah, so that's why everybody's kind of putting their pieces to that. You got f5, knight f6, knight c3. Okay, g6, e3 by white. So I don't know if that's necessary at the beginning. I mean, I'm sure that's not like a problem, but if I play this position as white, when I play it, I usually go with like g3, bishop g2, and I don't commit to e3 early usually because then you're blocking the bishop, and some cases maybe the bishop wants to be on f4 in some variations. Okay, e3, bishop g7, knight f3. Okay, castling, queen c2. Now, if I were white, I would think just bishop d3, and then I'm ready to castle. And that way I'm fighting for e4 with a minor piece in developing. Queen c2 does the same thing, fights for e4. Maybe he wants to push. But you can be developing a minor piece while being ready to castle. Okay, d6, bishop e2, knight c6, and b3. Okay, so he probably wants to, his plan is maybe to get this bishop to b2. Maybe that's what he was thinking when he played that. And let's see, I don't know if that's good to be pushing pawns. Maybe just castling would be good because you got space between your king and your rook. So I say castling is usually a good idea. In most cases, whenever there's space between the two, it's a good idea to castle. That way you don't get distracted by trying to do other things. And here's the point. That as well is that black plays back e5, and so he's already castled, and both sides have developed well, but black's king is castled versus the white king still being in the center. So any contention in the center is going to be good for black, because if the center opens up and the white king is uncastled, well then black's king is going to be safer and it's going to be better for him. And that's also why I don't like the next move by white, a3, because it's kind of slow. He's playing kind of slowly, and this king's still in the center. So I again think castling, just getting the king out of the center, because pushing pawns when you're less developed and the center's starting to be put under tension is not usually a good idea. Okay, and knight e4. I don't know if this is necessary, because you do give up a pawn if white takes. So say takes, queen takes, e takes, and then yeah, so right here black is down a pawn, and I mean, it's probably still pretty good for him because he is a little bit more developed, and his king is safer, so it's probably not quite so bad. But at the same time, I do like the idea of having an extra pawn. But he does have some problems, to worry about. But I don't know if it's necessary. Maybe there was a better option than just playing knight to e4. Maybe just taking to try to open the center a little bit more, because the white king is still there. he's still in the middle of the board, so any opening would be good for white, or would be bad for white, rather. Okay, next move, after knight e4, d5 was played. So again, if I was white, I would just take it, going for the pawn. Okay. Knight takes on c3, queen takes c3. Okay, e4, yeah. And this is looking pretty good for black. He's got this nice bishop on this long diagonal. So yeah, I do like that. And also, after knight d4, so this next move by black has a bit of an inaccuracy. Knight to e5, small inaccuracy, or yeah, this is an inaccuracy because you can take here. And in the notes, it says that he wrote he didn't see anything better than taking the knight, he didn't see anything better than this because he saw that taking the knight would close the bishop's diagonal. But even so, even after this pawn can be quite can be kind of weak here because you got something like you can go like queen f6, and it's kind of difficult to defend. You can't defend with bishop to e3 because f4 could be played, and if bishop to b2, then you have to worry about these pawns are becoming pretty strong, coming towards the white king who still hasn't castled. So I think that this would have been something like this would be pretty good for black. Okay, and even maybe just pushing f4 immediately because you got the rook backing it up. So you don't. So yeah. So that's that might have been something that could have been considered. Okay, back to the actual game. Knight to e5. b4 again. Still, white king is still in the center, and he is still pushing pawns. So here, I still say castling is better for white. b4, queen g5, and now white finally castles. But I still say this position can be better for black. Okay, knight to f3 check. And here's why I say it should be better for black. Because after this move, you still have the ability to take this knight again and create that weak pawn again. That's what I would do. And then, after, let's go through a variation here that if white makes a mistake, obviously he can't really take this way. Yeah, a lot of dangers here. You can just take and then too many things attacked, so that would be bad. A not as bad move, but still bad, would be taking with the bishop, because after takes, and this rook is still in the corner hanging, so if the knight takes the queen, then the black winds up winning. Alright, so that's one possible variation. Let's go back here. The move that was played is king h1, and now my variation idea, knight takes d4, and then e takes, then you can just go queen f6, and again, pressure on the pawn, and then you get something like this. And this looks pretty good for black. Now, in the game, knight takes h2, sacrificing the knight. And this is not so great, because if you watch the other video, my last video, I make mention of how sacrificing isn't always necessary. Like, if you have an advantage, a positional advantage, then why not just work that out and keep pressing that positional advantage instead of taking a risk that's unnecessary. If you have a comfortable position, just keep playing that. The other end of this is there's not a whole lot of pieces that can add to this attack. And so it's really just the queen. And when you only have the queen attacking, that doesn't work out always because she's powerful, but she can't checkmate by herself in most cases. Only in rare occasions are there queen-only checkmates. Okay, so king takes, bishop to e5 check, g3, and here it's possible to get a little bit of something. If you can play h5 after g3, maybe you can hit this pawn, and then it's still better for white because of the extra piece, but then at least you're putting a little bit more pressure on him, and sometimes in positions when your king is weak, you'll make mistakes, so there's a little bit of potential there, maybe, to get a little something going, you know, and there's also potentials for perpetual checks and things like that. And yeah, also mistakes are likely to happen in positions like that. So that maybe would have been better than the move f4, because in this case, now it kind of makes it so that there's not really anything that can happen. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because after this, it's kind of difficult to really attack the king. Yeah. Yeah, and also, and right here, it's kind of already over for black hair, because you know he can just exchange pieces and then make it to an end game where he's just up a piece. You know, I would have just taken this bishop, but he plays rook to b1 because I would want to hurry up to get to an end game, or I just have that extra piece. All right, but let's just go through these last few moves. And after bishop g7, here black resigns. And yeah, so this is the end of the game. So yeah, definitely the things to work on from this game is don't sacrifice if it's not necessary. Unless you see a clear win, don't usually go in for it, because a lot of the time it's not necessary. If you have a positional advantage, don't worry about rushing in. Take your time. Take your time, because it's much better to just slowly press an advantage that will definitely work than to go in for a sacrifice that might not work, and then you'll wind up losing a piece. Okay, so I hope that this helps. Keep watching and send me more games. Alright, that's all. Bye.